Now, the so-called super committee tasked with balancing our nation's deficit is just days away from deciding how to trim down a $1.2 trillion debt. Nathan O'Neill joins us live from our Washington, D.C. bureau. Nathan, what are Arizona lawmakers?
I guess you could use the term not very optimistic. There are only 10 days now until the Thanksgiving deadline, and still no firm plan from the super committee that's been given the task of coming up with a debt reduction plan.
Jobs, 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 jobs.
It is important for the super committee to succeed.
Time is quickly running out for the super committee to make its recommendations to Congress to make at least $1.2 trillion in debt reduction, and there is a sense of nervousness throughout Washington.
My belief is that this super committee is going to be divided. I may not even come out with a proposal.
Arizona Representative Ed Pastor is just one lawmaker who is skeptical of the super committee's ability to come to an agreement by its November 23rd deadline.
The Republicans on the committee, on the super committee, do not want to include any methods of raising the revenue.
If the committee fails to make the required cuts, automatic cuts would kick into the defense and domestic budget. And while those cuts would not take effect until January 2013, it's still something that Representative Paul Gosar says is very serious.
The sky's not falling, but it's serious. These are serious times, and it requires serious people to take extraordinary leadership.
He says that the super committee should have more than the handful of public hearings they've had since it was created.
You're going to deal with this one way or the other. Isn't it better that you deal with it honestly and openly in front of the American public?
And while the deadline looms for the super committee to deliver its recommendations,
The bottom line is we're not really sure how it's going to turn out.
budget policy expert Stan Collender says the odds don't look good.
But at this point, the way Washington is working, particularly on spending and tax issues, it seems very unlikely that there's going to be any kind of bipartisan agreement.
Technically, the committee has until November 23rd to actually vote on a proposal, but it has to be posted 48 hours ahead of time. So when you actually do the math, they have until next Monday to come up with a plan. Live in Washington, D.C., Nathan O'Neill, Cronkite News.